All right. Good morning. Long time no talk. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I know it's been a minute, and I apologize for that. A lot that has happened. A lot in life happens. I know I mentioned whenever I was picking things back up again, uh, same stuff. I mean, it just happens. I could have, been a little bit more uh, consistent, but I wasn't, and that's just that's just me being a human. We're all human sometimes, but I figured today would be a good day to hop on here, mainly because, and I don't want this to sound like oh, it's pointless now because I will not be trading today. I will call. I will give my market commentary. I will give my market analysis, but I will not be trading today. Mainly because to this week is again another non-farm payroll week, and I know I live streamed last Thursday or the last month on the Thursday of non-farm payroll week, and I said the same thing. I don't trade on these days. Now, here's the thing. I do understand the government has shut down. And if we look at the news, there is no non farm payroll on the schedule. And, you could say, okay, well, that's free game then. Okay, sure, go for it. I, call me a skeptic, call me, whatever you want. I just don't trust it. I'm still not gonna chance it because just in the past on this week, the level of precision has been so off, and I have hurt myself so much that I just, like I said, I told myself that I will never, feel this way again after it happened last time. And I don't trade on the Thursdays of non-farm payroll week. I just don't. So, anyways, with that out of the way, we will still, and I'll delete this right here. We'll still um, look at see what we got, and who knows? The price action could be great. And honestly, it hasn't been the best already. But if it's great today, so what? That's a day that I let pass by. I missed it, and I missed the move yesterday. I woke up late and I missed a very nice move on the downside. I did. I was able to capture a small scalp. It was a long. It was trading against bias. It was during the lunch hour, but and I say small scalp. I posted it on my social media page, and I'll put my social media up here just in case you want to go check it out. It's my Instagram. That's where I post a lot of my trade recap, or not trade recap. Yeah, trade recaps if you want to say my trades, live, receipts and stuff like that. So that's where all of that information will be. I'll leave that up here for right now. But I like I said, I woke up late yesterday and I missed the move. And was I upset? Not really. I mean, was it a nice move? And like I said, what I was starting to say is even though yesterday my trade was considered a scalp, it was still over to 100 handles. And that is because the volatility of right now is so high. Look how much movement we've had this week. Even on this up day, look at this. That's Monday, right? Let me put that. That's Monday. Look how much movement we have from the low right there. That's 25,181. So actually, no, we'll get the exact one. So look up here. Look up here at these values. So the low was 25,180.25, and the high was 25,949. How many handles is that, guys? That's over 800 or almost 800 handles. 700 and change. That's a lot. Here Here, this was almost an outside day. There, the high comes in at 2607.25. And you know what? I'll just do the math on my phone, so we'll stop guessing. 26,027.75 minus the low, which is 25,218 equals, that's over 800 handles. Here, 25,169.25 minus 24,784.75. What the heck did I do? Oh, I did million. I didn't do the 0.0. Okay, hold on. 25, 1, and you might be doing it on your phone too, and I'm slow, so I apologize. But we're gonna get through it together. Oops, I'm on the wrong candle, folks. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. 25,514.5. There we go. Come on, RJ. You're a college graduate. Doesn't really matter, but that's 515 handles. So I missed the move in the morning during that day. Hold on, guys. Let me blow my nose. Okay. So, a lot of movement, well over 2,000 handles, almost, yeah, over 2,000 handles just this week. And there's obviously more movement throughout the day, but this is just from daily high to daily low. Obviously, it fluctuates more because it goes up and down. But anyways, that's a lot. I mean, just look at the size of the candles leading up to this week, and then look at this week. Now, is it a good thing? I think it's a good thing because look at it. This is the consolidation that we've been in. And while I was not present on social or on YouTube, I mean, this was so different. This is so difficult to trade, guys. And don't feel bad if, you thought the same thing. You're like, geez, this is hard. It is hard. I've been doing this for, geez, I don't even know I'd have to think. I've been doing it for a little bit. I've been doing it for a minute. And this, to me, was one of the hardest environments to trade. And that's okay, guys. That is okay. Because, hold on. Sorry, I apologize. Let me see one thing. Am my microphone working? Hold on, let me check. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, that scared me. I forgot to check my mic. So don't feel discouraged that admitting to yourself that it's tough, because it is tough. Now, we might have something to talk about here if we keep accelerating down. But like I said, we're still we're outside of this range that we were stuck in for a while. We were stuck in from this low to this high for the longest time. We took that high, we're taking this low now, and now we're gravitating towards this volume imbalance right here, which is where price is basically at, as you can see right there. What else do I want to cover before I get to the analysis part of things? There's probably more stuff that will come to my head. I should have a more strategic plan, or I should have more of a checklist of what to cover before, but I don't. I just come on here and I say the first thing that comes to my head. But that's okay. It's live. It's real. So anyways, we will get into this. So right now we're looking at the blank chart. So daily chart, as you can see, we've had pretty significant movement to the downside, and this is where we're gravitating towards now. Dropping down to the 4-hour, same thing, huge rebalance right here, and then another drop off yesterday, and now we are falling again. So this thing is in a hurry, in my opinion, to get down to that area. But once it gets to that area, we're going to have to study it. And that's another reason why I'm not trading today, because look how close we are to this. And this was my essential target. We're so close to this. And look, what's the bias right now? It's bearish. In my opinion, like I said, we've moved a lot. We're right here. Do I think we're going to accelerate down here? I don't know. And that's the thing. This here is a logical place where I would see a target. Down here right now, not yet. I don't know. So that's why I'm saying this is the first stop, and then we'll study to see if it wants to keep going, if it wants to retrace into this candle right here, or this candle right here, because this is a bearish breaker. We have a high, a low, and then a higher high that takes this liquidity. So this down candle, once this closes below it, or if it doesn't close below it, then this doesn't validate as a breaker just yet. We do have this breaker right here. This is a smaller swing breaker. So we could see if it draws up into here, it could want to draw up into this one as well. But like I said, all of that is still up in the air until we get a candle, until this day closes, because yesterday it didn't close below it. Today it's below it right now, but we still have a lot of time left. So we'll see what today gives us. And if we do close below it, let's say we close somewhere around this volume imbalance, I would expect tomorrow, Friday, to have a retracement, because there is a model that is taught by ICT. It's called TGIF, which means it's basically a, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Apologies, folks. So basically, TGIF is a 20 to 30%, and honestly, almost 40% sometimes, and up to, I should say, 40% retracement of the weekly range. And the weekly range so far is this right here. It's a beefy candle. So if we do close below this candle today, then I would reasonably expect us to draw back up into here, possibly up into this area, which all of this string of candles is a bearish order block. We have this one as well, so we could see it come up as high as maybe there. If I was wanting to see bearishness, obviously we have this imbalance right here. We have a volume imbalance, and then we have this candle's high. So if we take it from this candle's low, close, and this candle's high, this is an imbalance right here. So this is an area that I can logically see it drawing back up to. As far as retracements go, if I want to stick to a bias, I would be bearish. And honestly, I would prefer lower prices. I know a lot of people, ooh, doom and gloom, we're gonna, like it's gonna crash and all that. And as a day trader, you understand, if you are one, that you don't care if it goes up or down. All you care about is movement. So that's my opinion. I'm like, I want to be bearish. I like being bearish also as well, because price moves 3 times as it goes down 3 times as fast as it goes up. So that's what I like. Just program that way. Okay, 4-hour right here. I know we're on a blank chart. I'll go to the ones with the confluences and all that good stuff. But 1 hour, we have this right here. This is the reason why I don't like trading this day anyways. We have these equal low highs. I'll show you what's up here also, that I'm looking at possibly a draw, after we see what we get today. But Let's see what else. So that's as far as we're going to go on this chart. We're going to go back up to the daily. Over here, here's the daily on this chart. And again, here's that volume imbalance. I have this daily low marked right there. And then let me see. We did have this small breaker right here. And I know this technically isn't a breaker because it didn't come up and sweep this high, but this right here, this swing right here, to me is still valid as a breaker because we have this rebalancing and then it left it. So if it did come up here, I wouldn't want to see it come up past this point. We do have these 3 consecutive candles, which are a bearish order block as well. I have that the opening, I mean the low of it, the opening, and the midpoint marked right now. I have equilibrium of this leg right here that we have already broken. So I'm going to delete that for right now. But anyways, it looks like we're about to hit the volume imbalance. And like I said, to me, that's pretty much satisfactory for my weekly target. But like I said, it could go further, but I'm not gonna impulsively sell it because right now it's too expensive. I mean, too cheap. No, yeah, too cheap. It's in a major discount. So I needed to come back into some type of premium before I look to take a short again. So 1 hour over here, we have this huge volume imbalance, which is sitting right on that daily low. So here's the reason why that I didn't like, I mean, I'm not comfortable trading today as well, is because we have these equal level highs. We have this bearish order block on the 4 hour. It's stabbing, but it can't reach up there. So in my opinion, at some point in time, we're going to see this return here. And like I said, once it reaches here, I'm pretty much done for my, higher time frame targets. So I would not be expecting a lot more to the downside because, I mean, we went through it, at the beginning, and we've moved well over 2,000 handles to the downside from, this week. So that's a lot. That's a lot. With basically, I mean, Monday was obviously the Judas swing because it was an up day, as we can see right here. It was a bullish day, but then fell off a cliff. So there's the hourly, 15-minute stop short. Do you want to try to just get this and remember what I said about the lower quadrant, the last 25% of a move? What's more than likely going to happen? A lot of stop runs. So you can beat yourself up, you can second guess your bias, and it's just not a fun time. So that's another reason that I'm staying out today. Let's see here. Let's go to the 15-minute. Here we have the new day opening gap up here. This is the range from pre-market from 7 a.m. to basically 9 o'clock. That's the highest high and lowest low. And so even right here, we're so close to this volume imbalance because it's literally right here, right below this low, that we're in a discount anyway, so I wouldn't take a short. So, and if I'm not going to take a short and we're in a discount, the only thing that makes sense to me would be taking a long. And just like I said, my daily bias is bearish. And yes, I traded against bias yesterday, and I'm not, saying that I won't trade against bias. It's just like here, I'm just like, this is with the day. There's too many factors that go into, not high probability for me. So I'm just not. Okay. So here's the first presented fair value gap of pre-market or displacement. It's right here. It is a bullish fair value gap. Came up, tried to find support, couldn't, came below it, came back up, used it as resistance, and absolutely fell out of bed on during pre-market. A lot of pre-market movement. We got about 3 minutes and change. I'll try to get through this here pretty quickly. Here is the opening range. This is the line where we settled at 414. I will go to regular trading hours, where we settled at 414 right here, and we're going to open up lower, which means we're going to have a discount opening range gap. More than likely, price is going to want to draw up into there. At least, I would say some. Remember, I mentioned that 70% of the time, the midpoint of the opening range gap does get traded to before 10 a.m. Doesn't always happen, but like I said, that's 70% of the time. And we're going to have a large opening range gap as well. Midnight opening prices. Here's this. Traded up, cannot find any footing whatsoever to the upside and just falls out of bed, like I said, during pre-market. Here's the 8:30 opening price too. We're so far gone, in my opinion, that it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it, guys. Here is equilibrium of yesterday's regular trading hours. Look, we hovered around it, and then here was 3:15, and then we left it. So, in my opinion, this has already done the damage. Or this has already done the, it's already moved a lot, let me put it that way. And so I do not expect a lot of more movement to the downside. But it 100% can. I'm just saying, like, that's just me. And, that's why, I know I'm giving myself every reason not to trade, and that's okay, because I don't want to trade today. It's just not, like I said, it's just not a good environment for me. Here's the new day opening gap. Like I said, again, we have first presented for value gaps all up here. That's not really that good of a chart to see. But anyways, we got 1 minute till opening bell. Where are we right now? We are 24,763. So we're going to open up somewhere around here. And it's going to be about, oh man, 200 and I don't know. I can't. I'll do it. Y'all do it. Y'all do it. And I'm just kidding. I'll do it for you. 25.0, 45.75 minus 24,760. I know it's probably not going to stay at 767. I just want to get a ballpark. Around 280 handles. That's a lot. That's a big gap. So do I expect it to fully close it? Maybe not today. Can it? Yeah. Three, two, one. Where are we? Right there. So I'm going to delete this. Hate it when that happens. I'll go ahead and I'll put the quadrants on as well. Just for visual representation. So just give me one tick. And that is not correct right there. I need to fix this first. Okay, I need to get this on the freaking low. Closing price, right? Nope, right there. Good. Okay, now we'll extend it. Yeah, that's right there. Man, my stomach just growled. I'm usually never hungry this early in the morning. I'll probably stay on till 10:30 or so. It's because, like I said, I'm not really trading today, and I just wanted to hop on here and say that I'm still here and maybe show that I still got it. Like I said, this week is always my lowest probability week. Can you still make money in this week? Yeah, but my performance is always not as on point, you know? So here's the opening range gap, lower quadrant, midpoint, upper quadrant. Has it even touched it? No. Where are we? Inside the volume imbalance on the 4-hour. So let me see right here. So came down, took the low from pre-market. Gravitating up towards the 8:30 opening price. Like I said, on the 1-hour, we do have this imbalance right here, so we'll see if it can't draw up into there. Do I expect it to come all the way up here today? No. Well, I don't know. Let me put it that way. I don't know. Just because I would like to see on the daily it stay below this daily low, like I said, in my opinion. So the imbalance right here is sitting right at that daily low. So what I would like to see it do is use it as, like I said, a bearish fair value gap, come back down and maybe sweep the initial low of the day. But I don't see it going a lot further, which again, like I said, we've had a ton of movement, folks. Like these have been huge days. I mean, 3 huge days in a row, 4 almost. So, yeah. Like I said, in my opinion, I do want to see it stay below here on a closing basis. I'm just not trading it because why? We're in a discount. It's already delivered to where I, had my analysis drawn up to, and it is the week that it is. So. Come on. Why are we? Yeah, there we go. Okay, back here. Nice displacement right there. Might be forming the first presented fair value gap on for morning session, post 9:30. We are drawing up into the opening range gap. We have hit the lower quadrant now. We are above 8:30 opening price. We're below midnight opening price. I'd like to see if that can't leave it open and create an imbalance. Look at volatility, guys. 5 handles in one tick. 2 handles, 4 handles, 5 handles, 10. Jeez, look how many. That's insane, guys. And I know it's the open, but still, that's a lot. So we did leave this open. So this is going to be the first presented fair value gap. There we go. We do have this small breaker right here. We have these two down candles as well, which is a bullish order block. Has not touched that yet. Oh, sorry. I don't know why, but I told you all I woke up late yesterday. And today it was difficult getting up too. I don't know why I'm so tired lately. Oh, I know why I'm tired today. Yesterday, I have no idea why I'm tired. So I work out, I go to the gym, and yesterday was leg day. And leg days are always my most exhausting days. It's probably another reason why I'm hungry this early in the morning too, because I don't know if I ate enough yesterday from it being leg day. I had a buddy of mine at the gym recommend a pizza place that I might think about getting. And it's literally the coolest name in the world. It's called Two Brothers or Two Guys from Italy, excuse me. And if you're from Texas and from North Texas, you might have heard of it. If not, I'm sorry. Then you won't get to experience it unless you come here. Drawing up into that hourly fair value gap. As we can see, it used the first presented fair value gap, came down, hit the bullish order block, setting higher, and this breaker into these three candles. It highs right here. We have highs right there. Watch to see if it wants to drop into those. Like I said, we do have the new day opening gap all the way up here. And look how many times it's reaching and reaching and it can't get there. Obviously, I understand, if I'm bearish, I don't want to see that. But it's delivered to an area that I would be satisfactory on the downside. So what am I, thinking now? It's going to want to come up here and knock the people out that took this trade from either here or 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 here that have their stop losses in this area that looks like an area of support or resistance, resistance. And with that being said, that is above this candles. That's above the imbalance. So we can still see it, like I said, trade above the imbalance and then close below this low. I'm just saying, if it were to do what I was saying originally and just fall here, then I would be pretty much satisfied with what I would want to see tomorrow. But that's why we never force our idea on the market. We have a plan and we just watch to see if it pans out. And if we start to see signs that it is panning out, that's when we can think about speculating. And if it doesn't, then we just do nothing and we reevaluate. So right here, in my opinion, if you were long from here to here, 757, 8, 904, take your profits and go home, guys. It's Thursday of non-farm payroll week. And I know there is no essential news event on. Oh, we do have news at 10 a.m. too. So take your profits now because there's going to be some volatility. So drawing back up into this imbalance, like I said. Above the daily low that I had marked out now. One thing to note about daily highs and daily lows, there's a lot of setups that form around these areas, just because there's a lot of liquidity, obviously, below old lows and old highs. So there tends to be a lot of, reversals. Yeah, or more reversals than anything else. But still, like this, if it was to come down here, gather some more buy orders, come back up here, create displacement, and have a candle body laid across or laid on the like this, like that. You see how the daily low is inside this imbalance? If it were to do that right here, like I said, it would have to take, or it would have to come down deeper into it, discount again, in my opinion. But if it were to do that, then that would be a reasonable idea that that imbalance could possibly be used as a trade, because that's high probability, because it is at a daily low, like I said. So this is why, like I said, we have all of this price action over here. That's why I didn't like anything today. So I'm just going to let it do its thing. I will give my commentary on it, but not going to trade it. Let's see. So we'll mark the range from pre-market. Oops. Why don't you say something? So here's the low to the high. Equilibrium is right here. Above equilibrium now. Of the pre-market range. I know a lot of the stuff that I mentioned might seem like it's overkill. Like, why do you have that? Why do you have this? Why do you have that? Or it might not. It might be, why don't you have a certain thing? And my answer to that is, that's the trader that I am. And that's something that you're going to have to figure out on your own. What works for you, what visually is easy to understand, because you don't have to use everything that I use. I mean, you don't have to use opening range. Well, I would say you would have a better edge if you do, but you don't have to. You don't have to use midnight opening prices if you don't want to. You don't have to use 8:30 opening prices. You don't have to use daily highs and daily lows. You don't have to use pre-market session ranges. You don't have to. If you find profitability without them, then what's the point in using stuff that you don't need? Well, I mean, obviously, if it sharpens your edge, yeah, but you don't need a ton of stuff to be successful, which that's what I think is the greatest thing about here. I mean, you can make it as simple as possible. You can be like, okay, well, I like first presented fair value gaps. So if I have a bias and I see the first presented fair value gap, I'm either going to buy it or I'm going to sell it. That's the easiest model in the world, in my opinion. And that is one of ICT's models. But it's an easy model. It has rules. It's structured. And as long as you stick to, proper risk management, and obviously, you are a, your technical analysis with this model is on point, then yeah, just stick with it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Obviously, you can practice with, other stuff, just the stuff that that works for you. Do that with the real money or the prop firm or whatever. Like I said, that's when you put your money where your mouth is. The other stuff, tinker with it until you find profitability with it, on demo or on paper. Okay, so we are above equilibrium, but we are not moving very much right now. We are about 12 minutes and change before news. There's that volume imbalance, like I said. Boom. Jolt's jobs. Trump speaks tonight also. If it gets above this imbalance on a hourly basis, I would more than likely expect it to draw somewhere up into here, which is why I haven't deleted anything up there. We got a low, we got a lower low, and we had a market structure shift right here. This candle becomes a breaker. I know there's going to be some overlapping here, but bear with me. I'll talk you through it. Would I take a long if it does draw into here after this? No. I wouldn't be confident in taking a long at all until it gets, like I said, above the 1 hour imbalance and closes on a hourly basis. That's why I don't want to trade today, because it's already delivered. We are bearish, but we're in a discount. It's mixed on the higher time frames, and it's just not a good environment. It's not a higher probability environment. And I know I keep going back to it, but I'm just like, you have to tell yourself this in order to learn, or for you to agree, because if you don't just constantly remind yourself, stick to your plan, stick to your plan, stick to your plan, you're going to give yourself reasons of how to, why you should break them. It doesn't look that bad. Let me go in here and see if I can't buy it right now. And then takes you out, and then maybe it runs. And that's what happens a lot of times, sometimes when you trade against bias, because if you swim against the tide, you're fighting the flow. And if you're fighting, the flow, then it's going to be difficult to get what you want. Can it? Yeah. Did it happen yesterday for me? Yeah. But I understand, more than likely what it's going to do at certain times of the day. And that's the main thing, because a lot of people tend to forget that, price, all of this is what we key off on, and we use the confluences, these, PD arrays, which is price displacement arrays, which is a ICT term. We use all of these to be able to speculate, get into a trade, and be profitable. But the main component of why we are trading is the time factor. That's the first and foremost thing, because when you think about trading, Do you, and some people prefer it, but I don't. When, like I said, do you prefer to trade? Do you prefer to trade at the open, or do you prefer to trade during Asian session? The Asian session, sorry, say that 5 times. Asian session. Yeah. Which, like, what do you prefer? If you said, market open, New York session, there's your answer right there. That's time. That's a time aspect. Now we can get, even more into it, like, the 9:30 open, the macros, which, we're inside right now. We're in the we're inside the first macro. And remember what a macro is. The macro is the last 10 minutes of an hour and the first 10 minutes of a new hour. There's a lot of, like I said, the price begins to spool during that. Now, when there's news, yeah, that's maybe not the case during this macro, but usually during macros, price tends to start spooling, which means that the algorithm that drives this market just starts throwing in either buy orders or sell orders, one side of the market or not, and it doesn't matter how many people buy it or how many people sell it. It's going to go that direction no matter what. And if you have a bias, if you have confluences around your bias, and you have a target, that is a high probability setup. That's where I love to trade in. And if you look at my trade yesterday, let me take a quick peek at it. Was it during the macro time? I believe it was during the macro time. No, it was right at the beginning of PM session. It was at 1:30. So there's your answer right there. That's just as good of as an example, because timing wise, PM session for stock indice futures starts at 1:30. And if you look at my trade from yesterday, and you can go back and look at it if you would like, just go to this Instagram. Come on. Why are we frozen? There we go. Just go to this Instagram right here and you'll see it on my story. I also have a highlights playlist that says receipts. That's where it is also. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So you can see the run right from where I entered to my target, how low resistance it was. And there's a reason for that. And you might not believe it, or you might say, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. Go back in your charts and look around the times that I'm saying. Like, look at the times, the macro times. Look at the lunch hour, which is between 11:30 and 1:30. And then look at PM session, which is 1:30 to close. And then you can look at 9:30 to 11:30, in my opinion. Look at those timing. Look at the timing of those. And what I do is, and I have it marked right here. So I have pre-market, I have 7, 8, 9, and then 9:30. So this is my timing chart, basically. Here's midnight. Here's the start of pre-market. This is all what we did overnight. Here's start of pre-market. Here is opening bell. Here is start of lunch hour, 11:30. Are we on 11:29? Why are we on 11? No, we're on 11:30. Okay, good. So 11:30, start of lunch, end of lunch, start of PM session, end of the day. So that's what I'm saying. Go back into your charts and just look at where. So you look at that. That's what I'm saying. Like, this day is not going to offer a lot of high probability setups. We're about to get news as well also, because the bias is bearish, but yet we're in a discount. So I don't see a lot of, like I said, a reason why to enter the marketplace right now. Okay, let me see. 5 minute. Go back up to the 15 minute. See, this is failing. Why? Because look at the higher time frame. Higher time frame is bearish. We're so close to down here though that I don't even think that's worth it as even maybe a scalp, obviously, but I don't know. Just not interested, guys. Just not interested, and that's okay. That is a-okay. Go back up to the 15-minute, or back down to the 15-minute. So that's what I'm saying, guys. It's like we have to think. We have to go through our checklist first, and the first thing is going to always be time. It's always going to be time. Because like I said, if you like trading during Asian session or overnight, yes, the move might start during that time, but like the daily move, like usually London session, which is between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning, sets the tone. It usually creates the high or the low of the day. But do you need to know, or do you need to trade? Like, do you need to take a trade during that time to be profitable? No. And I know it's probably, I know you're probably like the people that do trade, obviously the ones that are just, watching because, they heard about a kid that just goes off and rants and, you know, seems like he's crazy. I know, I understand. I've been called crazy and delusional before, but, nobody believes it until it works. And I think I've shown that it works on a numerous amount of occasions. Let me put it that way. Like I said, if you go check out my social media page and go look at the receipts tab, you'll get a feel for it. And even if you watch some of my videos of the live executions, you'll see it. So that's what it is. Da, 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 da. About a minute and a half, a little less than a minute and a half before news event drops. Let's see what happens. Coming back down into first presented fair value gap. Here's equilibrium. I like that. Driving through it now. Also, we're about to get the opening range of morning session, which is the first 30 minutes. That's another confluence that I use. So days like this sometimes tend to be range bound of the opening range. And the opening range is different than the opening. Let's see, look at that. What did I say? 70% of the time, the midpoint of the opening range gap gets traded to before 10 a.m. or before 10 a.m., right? What did I say also? If you took this trade from here to here, I said what? I said get out. I said get out. Go back and listen to me, folks. I know a lot of the stuff that I say, I'm just like, if it does this, then this. If it does this, then this. But it does it. It does it. Here's 10 a.m. news. Swept the low right there. See if it wants to maybe come back up into the lower quadrant of the opening range gap. But that is the opening range from this high to this low, so we'll mark that. And equilibrium is going to, oops, why didn't y'all say something again? And equilibrium is probably going to be, okay, my computer's glitching. Y'all can still see that pretty clearly. Oh, if y'all want to check out the fib settings, y'all can. There's nothing real special about my fib settings. So hold on. So here's the upper portion. All of these are standard deviations. -1 and 1 are obviously the high and the low of it. I don't usually have those on a lot. These are TGIF retracements, including this right here. What I have toggled right now is obviously the quarters. This right here is optimal trade entry. If you know ICT, this is one of the very first things he taught. But yeah, there's nothing real special. Like there's no magic behind the fib. It's just you have to know how to use it. We're just going to do the opening range. Actually, no, we'll go all the way, because if you extend this all the way throughout the day, and like I said, days like this sometimes tend to be range bound. If you look at, the opening range, you can see where price is going to react around or off of those levels. Sorry, this is bothering me. It's just my OCD kicking in. Okay, where do I want to go now? Let's go back to the 1 minute. Did it allow anybody to get in this move right here? No, not really. Unless you were keying off on the equilibrium, then you did not capture this. I don't see a valid setup in here, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, unless you were looking at, like I said, with me, with this equilibrium, which I had it marked. I did have it marked. But what I would have liked to see is this cause this displacement, and then it possibly draw back up into either this candle, which it did right here after it closed below it. But that I still wouldn't have taken that, because we had news at 10 o'clock anyways. So, okay, let's see. Come up above 830. Can't find any footing. Falls out of bed. Comes up here. Like I said, we have the hourly imbalance that it drew up into. The breaker didn't support price. Whoops. This breaker didn't support price, so we're going to delete it. Let's see if it can take out this low and possibly get to the midpoint of this volume imbalance. I'll mark that. Let's see if we can get to the midpoint. Stay on the 15-minute for now. Okay, what do we want to talk about now? I want to talk about, because this thing to me, like I said, not interested whatsoever. It's done exactly what I expected it to do. Just kind of try to go up, trick traders into thinking that it's going to, gravitate up towards here. Can't get up to the, like I said, above this hourly imbalance, and now it's gravitating lower again. So let's talk about crypto. So if y'all remember, holy smokes, it's even worse now. If y'all remember back, oh geez, I can't remember what day it was. It was one of the live streams, though. I know it was one of the live streams. Yep, here we go, folks. Golly, guys. I had a, like I said, my analysis told me it was coming down here, but I didn't know it was going to happen this fast, man. Because that video, when did I post that video? You'll have to go back and I'll have to listen and watch them. But it was one of the more recent ones, because I haven't done a live stream in a while. So it was pretty recent. But I said, if we close below here on a monthly basis, which we did right there, which was in December. So it must have been in December, because I might have not live streamed all January. and January was one of the toughest months. Anyways, so I said if we close below here on a monthly basis, this thing is going to be bearish. And look, traded up into this bearish imbalance, and we also have this inversion imbalance right here, which I was really keying off on because why? We have a turtle soup, which means we have a false break above a high, which means it tricks traders into thinking this thing is going to go up higher. And what did I say? You know, like I said, I had started to implement the first imbalance or the last imbalance on the opposite side of the curve of the turtle soup. Extend that, because that is where you're going to want to key off on more, even though we do have this imbalance. And if we're bearish and if we have the midpoint and it can't even trade to the midpoint and stops inside this, what is that going to tell me? And we have this long wick down there. That means this thing is going to accelerate. And look. So this is the first stop. This is the first stop. Why? Because I have from here to here, this swing point. As this is the range we were inside. Now we broke it, so how low can it go? How low can it go? Anyways, so I have quadrants. Here's negative 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and negative 1. What does this mean? This is 1/4 of this range. This is half of this range. This is 75% of this range, and this is one full move. One full move is 22,000, guys. That is scary. That is so scary. Think about how much money has been liquidated. How many people have been liquidated? And if we get below here, guys, oh, it's over, in my opinion. We have this breaker right here. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I'm not in crypto. I'm not into crypto. Well, I was when I was younger, when I was first starting out. I'm really not into crypto anymore. But if you are, not financial advice, but think about what you're looking at right now. Because in how many days? It's taken, I mean, we closed below it on, right, there's January 1st. So we closed below it right there. So all of January, it had the Judas swing. And then once it finally got below here, it came up, couldn't find anything, and just fell out of bed. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, because crypto is 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop. So in 8 days, it has moved from 89, basically 90K to 60. That's 5%. Not that much. 6%. 2%. 4% basically. 3.5%. And now 6%. Guys, that's insane. Look at the S&P, I mean, not the S&P, indices like NASDAQ and ES and Dow. This is that's a little bit more than average too. That's a lot also. This is more like it. This is, more like, normal. Gold and that's down also. But that's why I'm actually going today to sell gold that I have. I'm literally going there to sell it today because look at where we're at. I know all-time highs, blah, blah, blah. But look after this. And right here, I wanted to sell it yesterday. But I got out too late. So, and I'm only gonna sell it on spot anyways, because all I have really is scrap. I'm not gonna sell my jewelry and stuff like that I have gold. But I mean, as a day trader, dude, I'm going to follow my analysis. And this is telling me right now that I'm not sure if gold's going to go much higher right now. So what do I want to do? I want to get rid of it. I want to have I want to convert it into cash. Now, if it does go lower, and like I said, I find another buying opportunity, guess what? I'll buy more gold again, and then I'll hold it, and then I'll wait for it to maybe come back up to where my analysis tells me, and then I'll sell it again. But I'm not comfortable with where gold is at. So that's why I want to sell it. Anyways, let's go back to Bitcoin real quick. So let's look at the weekly chart. Yeah, guys, I had somebody, and this is not a jab at them, but I had somebody literally argue with me about this when we were right here. We were up here at least, like we were around 100, like 95K or whatever. And I said, do you, and I was like, in your opinion, and she said, because she was in crypto, like she had, she was holding certain cryptocurrencies. And I told her, I was like, well, we both understand, Bitcoin is the blue chip of the cryptocurrencies and it basically drives the crypto markets, right? Okay. Yeah, we agree on that. So I said, in your opinion, do you think Bitcoin is going to get above 100K or stay below 100K? She was like, yeah, it's going to get back up it might not get back up to all-time highs, but it's going to get above 100K. And then, I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit longer and then I'll sell it. Okay. Because I said the exact, I showed her this. I mean, she was the only person that I showed any of all this stuff. She was the only person that I told a lot of this stuff. And a female trader, first of all, is rare. That's a rare breed. And as much as we tried to help each other out, the old, saying goes, don't mix business and pleasure. And we couldn't, we would always butt heads about this stuff. And it's because I talk the way that I do, and I say the stuff that I do, and it sounds like I'm saying that I'm better than you, and it sounds like I'm saying that you don't, like I said, you're not as good as me, or like I said, I'm better than you, and it's not. It just means that I understand this. And like I said, if I understand this, like obviously there's more ways that you can figure out, and be profitable and, read price and all this, that, and the other. But if what I'm showcasing pans out more often than not, like I said, I'm right about 70% of the time on where this thing wants to gravitate to. Like I said, strike rate and trading is a different story, but knowing where price wants to go, I'm a good about 70% of the time. And you might say, well, that's all right. That's pretty good. That means 7 out of 10 times that I say something, I'm right. And like I said, I know that might sound, arrogant or whatever, but that's just my statistics. That's literally me going back in previous data and going back and doing this. I've done this because I wanted to make sure when I did decide to put my money where my mouth is, that I was 100%, ready. And so anyways, I was talking about the conversation I was having with my trading. I want to consider her a friend still. I haven't talked to her in about a month now, I think, actually. Ever since like January 12th. That's what it was. I think it was like January 12th. Because I remember the day that she just said, you know what, I'm just going to leave you alone. Because I mean, like I said, I said that, like, I talk the way that I do about this because this is what has got me to this point. And if this is what has got me to this point, and this is, and I'm, look what's happening right now. I understand that it might be frustrating that, it doesn't pan out in somebody else's favor, but I'm just trying to help. I really am. And I don't say any of this to make fun of anybody, but I promise if you take the things that, I'm saying, or if you go to ICT's page and you start to learn, his concepts, it'll start to make sense. It will. Because she had been doing this longer than me. She comes from a family that's in this industry. And I think she's lucky. I mean, I would kill. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I would have loved to have a family member that, did this, because I probably would have started this a lot sooner than I did. But sometimes, even though, and I had to figure it out also, I was like, okay, I've been doing this for this long. It's not working out. Like, nothing that I'm doing I'm not successful with any of it. That's the thing. I wasn't successful for the longest time. And until I got to the point that I was like, well, hold on, let's check out NQ real quick. Dang, we got all the way down to the full gap, full closure of that volume imbalance. We traded all the way to the low of it. Let me put it that way. Sorry. Okay. Let's go back to this chart real quick. So we got down to the low of that volume imbalance. I might stay on here a little bit longer just because I got some stuff on my mind. I know this might not be the most enjoyable part of it. Maybe it is. Maybe, this is the part that you like to watch or listen to. It's like a monologue. It's like a podcast or whatever. And this could turn into something like that. I don't care. I love talking about this stuff. This is my life. This is what I love to do. For the longest time, didn't know what my passion was in my career and stuff like that, or what I wanted to do with my life, but I found it in these charts. Anyways, we'll go back to Bitcoin real quick, and I'll continue with my little story. Let's go back to the weekly. So y'all can see the I don't even know what to call it, the story unfold of this, of Bitcoin's demise. Anyways. So for the longest time, I wasn't, profitable. I was losing money, and I was just angry that I couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't because I wasn't putting in enough time, because I was killing myself, man. I was like up 24 hours a day trying to just like be like, what is this? Like, how do I figure this out? Like, I couldn't figure it out, man. And that's where a lot of people, struggle with. They're like, I can't figure this out. I don't know where to turn. I don't know where, what resources to use. I don't know what questions to ask. It wasn't until that I found, ICT and smart money concepts that stuff started to make sense to me. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that smart money concepts are the answer. I'm not saying they're, what you need to become profitable. I'm just saying, oops, sorry, hold on, my computer came unplugged. I'm just saying, for me, they made the most sense, and they worked more times than not, like way more times than I had ever seen before. And so that's what I pressed into. Obviously, my own experience, I gained my own experience, and I probably developed my own way of, how to reprice in conjunction with smart money concepts, which everybody does. Whatever, type of concepts you use to find profitability, it might be the same as somebody else, but you still might interpret and, navigate, how to reprice in a, a little bit different way, right? Everybody's different. Nobody's the same. And I understand that. But the base is those concepts. And that is where I was trying to explain, that might be something that needs to be, that might be a point that somebody needs to start over with, because that's what I had to do. I had to literally, because I was doing it for about 8-9 months, and I know that's not a ton of time, but I was doing it the wrong way for about 8-9 months, and I was learning wrong concepts and using them the wrong way. And it was tough, and I didn't want to do it, and I fought it for a little bit also, but I had to untangle a lot of wires, like a lot of stuff that I had learned originally. It was wrong, and I didn't want to admit it at first, and that's the reason why I said I fought it. And then when I started to implement smart money concepts with the wrong stuff that I was using, and I still wasn't, it still wasn't working for me. And it wasn't until I just finally said, you know what, forget everything that you have learned up until the point that you started with smart money concepts, and just stick with smart money concepts. And once I did that, that's when it all changed. We're about to hit this breaker right here. So we might have a nice reaction once we hit this breaker right here, or we might just drive right through it. Man, if I was day trading crypto, I should have put a small position on, because with Blowfin, they do allow you to trade futures or crypto futures. So I could have shorted this if I really wanted to, but I don't care. I really don't care. I'm satisfied with, it panning out the way that, I had it, drawn up anyways. Because like I said, if you go back in my live streams, I had all of this on there in December. Anyways, so I was continuing to say, once I started a fresh start, and sometimes that's what's needed, folks. Like, I know it's tough. I know it's 100% tough. And I know I'm probably not speaking to anybody right now. Nobody's probably going to watch this. Nobody's probably going to find this video. Nobody's probably going to listen to this. But I say all of this because I want to help. I really do. And even though it might not sound like, I want to help, or somebody might take what I say and like the tone or whatever might sound like it's aggressive or saying, no, your way is wrong and my way is right. I'm not saying my way is the only right way, but if you are doing something for as long as you've been doing it and you have not figured it out yet, because I promise you, if you start with, like the technical side of things can be understood in 3 months. In my opinion, that's how long it took me to understand smart money concepts. Now, did I become profitable after 3 months of learning smart money concepts? No. But what I'm saying is the technical side of things and how to understand this, that's not the hard part. The hard part is the mental side of it, the risk management, the emotions, that's the hard part. So I'm saying, hold on. Sorry, I had to sneeze again. So I'm saying, if I'm telling you, hey, what you have been doing, unfortunately, has not been working out for the longest time. Let's try something new. Let's try something new. Now, I'm not saying, you have to give up everything that, you have learned to this point. I did. Like I did. And I think I was better off for it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're just so stubborn that you have to or you need depth of market, or you need, to know or you need to see, the DOM and where the orders are. If you need volume profile, if that just makes you feel better, then fine. Keep it. But try the new stuff. Try the new stuff. Try to implement it. But when I say try, I don't say put money behind it. Also, I'm not saying go in there and start trading on it. But what I'm saying is go in there and study it. Go in there and study it. Back test it first. Look at previous data. Look at the stuff that you're learning from the past, and then the next step would be, instead of back test, forward test. And forward test means practice on demo on paper and not real money. Then depending on how long it takes you to like I said, find profitability with that, that's when you can move on to the next step, which is prop firms, live, whatever that is for you, that you actually it means something to you. It actually has real. Prop firms aren't real money, obviously, unless you make profits from them. But the stuff that actually matters. Sorry. Anyways, so I and it's hard because like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's going to want to try to find profitability in a different way than somebody else. But and here's where I get in trouble. Or here's where a lot of people don't like me, a lot of people disagree with me, and that's the reason why I don't have a lot of trading friends anymore. Because, well, I kind of did that also, because I went away from everybody, because I don't know, that's just personal stuff. But the reason why I don't have a lot of people that I can talk to about this is because when I say something like, yeah, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. When I say that, nobody likes to hear that. And I get it. I didn't like to say it. I didn't like to admit it to myself. I didn't like to admit that, what I was doing was wrong. But I say it to help. I promise I'm trying to help. And I didn't want to see her. And I guess that's just me trying to be too much of a people pleaser, so to speak. Because I wanted her to become profitable more than I wanted to become profitable. I wanted to see her, because I know the feeling, guys. I know the feeling of when you finally get to the point where you're like, I got it. And the only thing that I have to wait is the time that it's going to take for me to build whatever, like I said, whatever you're trying to build, whatever you're trying to do, get to a point of, financial freedom, get to a point of taking care of your family, getting to the point of just covering maybe grocery bills, or grocery expenses for the month and stuff like that, because stuff's expensive. That's one of the main reasons why I started all this, because stuff was getting expensive and I couldn't afford to live just with my current job, and I didn't like my job anyways. So anyways, that's not the point of this conversation. But when you get to that point of it clicks, the aha moment, and everybody says, yeah, I've been there, I figured, I have had the aha moment. No, you haven't had the aha moment until you literally like jump out of your seat, because that's what happened to me. When I finally got it, I jumped out of my chair and I was like, holy bleep. I was like, I just got, it was like I just got the codes to like an ATM machine, because that's what these markets really turn into. Because there is no limit to how much, like I said, obviously you're limited to the amount of capital that you have, and but with the proper risk management, I mean, you can build this up as high as you want. And when I understood that, and when I finally got to the point where I was like, yeah, that's where I'm at right now, I was like, all I have to wait for is time to do it. And so what did I have? And like I said, that's when the other side of things becomes more important. That's when the risk management, that's when the psychology, that's when the patience, that's when the timing of it, that's all the more important things. That's what really sets the people that are successful in this industry apart from the not successful, uh, because like I said, the technical side of it is not the most difficult part. Everybody says it also. And if you've gone through it and you've become profitable and you have made this your career, you understand what I'm talking about. And it's weird because this industry is like a cult. And because when you talk to people that are in the, and I was literally because I don't tell a lot of people what I do on a regular basis unless they ask, like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a day trader. Oh yeah, tell me more about that. I'm like, you don't want to do it. Anyways, um when when I meet somebody that actually does do this for a living and is serious and is profitable, or maybe I talk to somebody that knows somebody and they'll say this, and they say the exact same things, and we're so relatable in that sense that you're like, yep, know exactly what you're talking about, been there, done that, went through that. It's because unfortunately I haven't found a way around going through all of that, because they say the unfortunate part of you know getting success or achieving success with something that is very serious. The unfortunate part is that the thing that it's going to cost you is pain. Think about that. The cost of success is pain. And that's not something that everybody can handle. And that's the reason why that 95, or I don't even know, the majority of people that are in this business, they quit. I mean, a lot of people, with anything, it doesn't have to be this as well, but I mean, I'm just using this as an example, but the majority of people quit before they succeed because the pain is too much for them to bear. And I probably experienced more pain than the majority of people that do this. And in the opposite sense, it made me stronger. It really did. And as much as it hurt, I'm thankful that I had those experiences, because it taught me, first of all, it showed me exactly, if I really wanted to do this or not. Because, yeah, I could tell some stories about, me making mistakes, but that's not, I don't want to talk negative. I want to try to be positive with this. And that's the reason why I'm trying to explain all of this, because I want to be, I want to, I want to, showcase to other people that are maybe trying to do this or are in the middle of it right now, the messy middle. I understand, a break even point, or, just, barely, on that edge, that I promise that it's, you can do, you can do it, but it's going to take more than you might think. It really is. And trying to pull back the veil, pull back the curtain, trying to find out every single secret in the sense of, using resources and reading news instead of just focusing on the two main aspects, like I said, which is price action and time. There's nothing that, like I said, if you're trying to figure out, something that's going to happen beforehand and predict, like obviously when I say I predict the future with candles, and that's in my bio, I don't say that in the sense of I'm telling you right now, even though that I kind of did, I'm telling you that, up here that Bitcoin's going to go to 22,000 and then I take a trade off of it. No, I don't say that. What I first do is I say, okay, what do I see in the charts? Okay, this is what I see. Okay, let me do my analysis, and then I determine, oh, okay, so this is where, I'm, seeing it want to gravitate to. That's what I'm saying. Like I predict the future like that way. I don't say, oh yeah, I know, or I can predict, what this, or I can predict, where it's going to go tomorrow. I don't know where it's going to go tomorrow. It could go back up to 120K. It could go up to all-time highs tomorrow. It really could. So if you're trying to be one of those people, is what I'm saying. If you're trying to be one of those where, you're trying to just guess and get lucky and all of that, that's what I consider that. That's gambling. That's not day trading. And honestly, if you're not profitable on paper, or you haven't back tested and forward tested and you're not profitable, and you're trying to use real money, that's gambling, in my opinion, as well, which nobody wants to hear as well. Everybody's like, I need to learn how to handle losing money. Why? Why would you want to do that? Like, isn't like the first goal of all of this should always be capital preservation. You want to keep what you have, first of all. And I promise you, this girl that, I was, my friend, she had way more money than I started with. So I would, I would be protective of that. I would be so protective. And that's the reason why I guess now I've developed that I'm so protective of it, because I didn't start with a lot. And when I did get a little, I wanted to hold on to it as much as possible. I did it to myself, though. I started with little because I made mistakes, obviously. But once I figured out, okay, this is precious, this is something that means, like, this money means something to me, because it's basically, all I got. Let me, like I said, do everything I can to keep this first. And then, whatever profits that I make from it is just an added bonus. That's what I'm saying. Man, this has gone off onto a tangent. This is not even technical analysis. This is just me ranting, but oh well. I won't ramble on too much longer. But it's tough. I know it's tough. And maybe she'll see this. Maybe she won't. Maybe I'll never hear from her again. And I'm just talking to be talking. And you might relate to a lot of the stuff that I mentioned about, my friend also. And you might be in that situation as well. And I want to, help you. And even though I might not know you, I want to help. But like I said, I wanted her to become, I mean, I'm not saying, she had to become rich for me to feel, and like I said, I'm not saying this because, I want to, like I said, be the type of person to be like, look, I'm right. All you had to do is listen to me. I'm just saying, I wanted to help her just come to the realization herself that, because to be completely honest, I went, and like I said, that just goes back to the cult aspect of it. I went through the same thing that she was going through, or very similar, at least. I might not have gone exactly through the same thing, but I've been there. And like I said, just because, like I said, you don't want to, you don't have to take my advice word for word. I mean, what I'm saying is, I promise, going to help a little bit. And if it makes it, 20% better, and then, you yourself get the other 80% there, then boom, perfect, fine. But sometimes you just got to trust. Sometimes you just got to trust. It's hard. I know it's hard because this industry can make you second guess yourself. It can make you want to scream, punch a wall, give up. Ugh, made me want to give up so many times because you're just like, this is so difficult. And it is. It is the most difficult thing that I've ever done. And when you know, the reason, the fact that I've stuck with it just shows me, like I said, how much I really do enjoy it and how much I really do love it. And this is the reason why I am doing, this as, this is why I'm a day trader as a career. It's because I went through so much pain and I still stuck with it. That's how I found out it was for me. Because I promise you, if I wasn't as committed and driven as I was, I would have given up so many times. I would probably still be looking for another thing to do as a career. But this is where we're at. 67K. That's where we're at. Oh my gosh. That's not good, folks. I'm sorry. I don't. Let's look at NQ. Just hovering around inside the volume imbalance. When I look at Ethereum, Ethereum's even freaking worse. Ethereum's probably going to go to zero. And like I said, I know I'm probably a little bit joking when I say this, but look at this. So here's the weekly chart. These two lows are basically the last line of defense, in my opinion, because once we get past these two lows, if it does get down there, what's stopping it from just going to zero? Because this right here is a swing point from this high to this low. And like I said, if we're inside this range and we break this range, I mean, this low is so close in proximity to this low that I don't see a reason why they just won't take it down there. And what's down here? What's the first? And it's just 1/4. This is just 1/4 of this. So what's 1/4? 490. And if 490 is so close to zero that, like, what's stopping them from just taking it to zero? And I know Ethereum's not as big, but it's still considered one of the higher cryptocurrencies. Look at Solana. Solana, the same thing. Solana's fallen off a cliff also. It's broken this low. Here's this low. Once it gets past this low, what do we have? We have this inefficiency right here. And where's that? 44. 44 from 294, or no, 295 on the dot. Wow. 295 on the dot, right up here. Look up here. All-time high, 295 to 44. What's stopping them once it gets to 44, taking it to zero? Felt like XRP? Where's XRP? What do I want to do? Crypto. I guess we'll just do this one. Yeah. 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 Oh, that's the market cap. No, I don't want that. I'll just do XRP futures. No, I didn't know you can trade XRP futures. XRP USD. There it is. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah, guys. We have this inefficiency down here, but like this is starting to rebalance all of this. Like, yes, I understand there's there can be a major pullback, and then they could just take this thing and just run like they did right here. But I mean, this was it in 20, like this was during the election. And of course, I mean, I say of course, but election years they're always going to pump it because they're going to want to make it look good. But I mean, once we get down here, the start of that inefficiency, that's $1. Come on. That's just, like I said, I know it's tough. If you are holding something, just don't do more damage to yourself, guys, by holding what they, I hate the term hodl. Hold on for dear life. HODL, hodl. I hate that term. Because guess what? That's emotion. That's gambling. That's, like I said, praying that something happens, or praying that, that's not day trading. And if you're a day trader and you're an investor, and, like I said, that's not what your thought process is. It's not a gambler's mentality. And like I said, I'm not in crypto. I haven't been in crypto since the election. That's the thing. I took advantage of the election, and then I got the heck out of Dodge because I knew this thing wasn't going to last forever. Now, where's November? Right here. November, and then once it broke all-time highs right here, again, boom. I was out because when I saw this run, I was like, okay, this could come back down here and accumulate. And then, we could see it run above all-time highs again. But I got out, right there. I was out of crypto completely as soon as we broke all-time highs on Bitcoin again. Did I, like I said, I wasn't in Bitcoin, first of all. Just because I was invested in crypto doesn't mean I was in Bitcoin. I was in meme coins. I was in, smaller cryptocurrencies, AI, all of that. But like I said, Bitcoin is, what drives the crypto markets. So I didn't get any of this. But did I care? No, I made my money, I made my bread, and I got out. And that's the mentality that is going to make you successful. Being satisfied with what you have made, because I mean, I didn't even have to do a lot of technical analysis to know this thing was going to pump during the election. I was just like, this is the election. Of course, they're going to want to make everything look good. Everything's going to go up. So throw some money in there. Why not? Did I throw an absurd amount? No, but I threw enough that I was comfortable risking, right? Exactly, because that's what day trading is. Only risk what you are willing or what your equity allows. So I have not been in crypto since May of 2025. So what is that? It's almost 7-8 months. I don't know, something like that. But I think I have talked your ear off enough, guys. And like I said, I don't even know if anybody's going to listen to this, watch it. It will be posted later on my page because every live stream is posted. But yeah, I'm done for today. Like I said, I wasn't gonna plan on trading anyways. Yep, look what we're doing now, guys. Just hovering around that volume imbalance. Yep. Stop short of the low from pre-market. And we left what? Equal level highs, equal level lows. We're trading, we're just range bound right now. And we're consolidating. So yeah, this is not a market, or this is not a day that we should be speculating on, in my opinion. But if you took a trade, the outcome, how do you feel? That's what you should ask yourself after you engage in a day like this, where maybe you told yourself, yeah, well, it's just another day. I'm going to treat it like any other day. Or if you told yourself, I'm not really feeling today, but I have to get in here and do something because I need to make money. And you did take a trade. Whatever the outcome is, how do you feel after that? Because that's something that you should assess every day after you do trade. Did you feel good about your trade setup? Did you feel confident? Did you feel like you were impulsive? Did you feel like, you were, just wanting to do something? So anyways, that's a conversation for another time. There's probably a lot more topics that I can cover, but for now, I am going to hop off. I'm probably going to get ready and get something to eat, go to the gym. And then like I said, am going to go sell some scrap gold that I have because, like I said, gold is not doing the best right now. I mean, it's still high, obviously, from where's the start of this year? From right there. So it's still up, but I want to get it. I want to get some cash because look on the daily. Like I said, this is why I wanted to do it yesterday, or I should have done it 2 days ago. But this is why I wanted to do it yesterday because we have this imbalance right here, and now we're falling. So I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. So what am I going to do? I'm going to be logical and I'm going to sell. That's the thing. I bought gold. I didn't buy gold. I'm not trading gold. I don't like to trade gold, but I have gold and I'm holding on to it while the valuing has increased. And now, because of my technical analysis, I am not sure if it's going to go up anymore right now. That's a big paradigm shift. I do not know. Can it? Yes. And if you do hold on to gold and it does go up again, first of all, how do you feel right now if you're holding gold and you want to see higher prices? How are you feeling right now? Because in my opinion, when I started to feel like I was not panicking, but a little nervous, that's when and that's in my trades also, that's when I made the decision to either take something off, like a partial, or close the trade altogether. And right now, I'm going to sell some gold. I'm not going to sell everything that I have gold, obviously, and I have jewelry that's gold that I'm not going to sell, but I do have just scrap gold and stuff that is just not. It's just gold. It's just just gold, and so I want to capture some profit. So I'm going to take a partial. There we go. There's your analogy for the day. So that's what I'm going to go do right now. But I don't know if I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, to be honest with you, depending on, what my analysis for the day tomorrow is going to depend on if I live stream again or not. But yeah, that was today. It's crappy, like I said. So tomorrow, no non-farm payroll news event, but we do have some news. I think we have news at 10. Yeah, we have consumer sentiment and inflation expectations at 10. So I'll be chilling until 10 a.m. But like I said, if I wake up or overnight or at the end of the day, I look at this and I'm not liking what I see anyways, I just might be done for the week. I'm highly satisfied with my performance this week, especially with it being non-farm payroll week. And like I said, I don't like to push anything during this week anyways. we're starting to, like I said, get out of the consolidation that we've been in. So we'll see what we get moving forward. But like I said, we were inside this range. We've broken this range right now. So we'll see, how things transpire. But anyways, that was today. I didn't mention today's date, but today is, you can see right here, February 5th, 2026. And so